Hello, and welcome back to the final chapter of The Picnic Bench. Chapter 4. 2 weeks later, when the summer heat was beginning to subside, Alice rounded the corner. Her heart rate increased. There was a man sitting alone at the picnic bench. At first she was unsure. He was the right sort of age and size. As she got nearer, he turned round. It wasn't him. However, he stood up and looked directly at her. Should she be worried? "Hello," he said. "Are you by any chance Alice?" She hesitated, nodded slightly, and he immediately recognized her misgivings. "Forgive me. I didn't mean to startle you. I'm Dennis's brother. Won't you sit down?" She sat down, anxious, perturbed. "I recognize you from my brother's description." He paused and then he said, "I'm afraid I have some bad news. My brother, whose name was actually David, died 2 weeks ago. First a stroke and then a massive heart attack." The little ray of hope was extinguished. There was a rush of sadness, and now confirmation that he had lied. All kinds of conflicting emotions flooded into her. Anger collided with pain and disappointment. "Are you okay?" She nodded. "I'm Nigel, David's younger brother." She looked up at him, her gaze steady, but her voice shaky. "Why did he lie to me?" Nigel took a deep breath. "He lied to you because he didn't want you to know that he'd been in prison." "And what was he in prison for?" Her voice was low. "Embezzlement." She waited. "My brother was a good man, but he became a victim. It could happen to anyone. He married late in life. I had my suspicions from the beginning. He was a fool, took her at face value. He went guarantor for her friends. She ruined him. He took money from his company to try to keep going, but the debts wiped everything out, literally. He lost everything, went to prison, and she walked away free. David communicated to me that finally someone good had happened to him. He told me that in you he had found a kindred soul for the first time in his life. He said he knew with absolute certainty that if he survived, he would want to be with you for the rest of his life. Alice began to cry. All so unfair. "There is something else." She stood up. "Please, this is important, a promise I gave to my dying brother. I said that my brother lost everything, and that is true, except that he managed to give me his coin collection before he was evicted from his house. And he wanted you to have it. There is value in the collection, and he wants you to use the money to visit your sister in America." Alice remained standing and quiet. Would it even be legal? Yes, he gifted it to me a considerable time before the real trouble started, but I guess he knew what was coming. "Look, I hardly knew your brother. It wouldn't seem right." "Alice, he begged me. It was his dying wish." He held the package out to her. "Please," he said softly. "I have already consulted a dealer in London. In fact, we have agreed a price. When you have decided what you want to do, ring me. My contact details are in the box. I can go with you to make sure you get the right deal." 1 year later, and Alice was on board a liner crossing the Atlantic. Beside her, 16-year-old Devon held a running commentary on everything. the other passengers, the decor, the pianist. For the umpteenth time he asked Alice about the relatives she was going to see. So, Janet is your sister, which means that you are auntie to her children. Correct. And great auntie to her grandchildren. Devon was thoughtful. I had an uncle once, Uncle David. He was ace. Only he wasn't my real uncle. He stopped. Probably better than a real uncle. He sighed. I wish he was here now. Alice was filled with emotion. Look, another ship, said Devon excitedly as he moved to the window. He watched fixedly for a few moments and then, still with his back to Alice, he said, Can I ask you a question? Go ahead. Would it be okay for me to call you Auntie Alice? Alice stood up and slipped her arm around his shoulders. Honestly, I'd like nothing better. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed the story, don't forget to like and subscribe and look out for my next story. But this is all for now. See you soon. Bye.